The Tommy Campbell Show. Donald Trump could become the first living person in more than 160 years to appear on U.S. currency if Republicans get this $250 bill through Congress, and there is a lot of controversy around this. It's even causing a bit of a rift in the Trump family. Hard to say if Don Jr. will be excited to roll up that bill, or he'll just feel bad about having his father directly up his nose. First, Trump put himself on the passport. Now he wants to be in your wallet. This is a $250 bill. Like, in all honesty, if you were trying to pass that at the mall, people would be like, a $250 with Trump on it? Like, come on, what else you got? A $3 coin, wooden nickels? Get out of here, kid. The reality behind this is that he spent the last couple of years running an official Trump coin crypto grift, and now he's trying to move his branding straight into cash. This is a guy who launched a meme coin 3 days before taking the oath of office, kept 80% of the entire supply locked up in his own private wallets, and made $350 million in a weekend, while the average mom and pop Trump supporter took a 96% bath on the token. Even Melania launched her own pump and dump coin. He ran a textbook crypto scam from the literal steps of the Capitol, and now he wants to bring that same magic to the U.S. Treasury. If this goes through, it will mark the first time in global history that a piece of paper currency is actively worth less than the actual number printed on the front of it. Right now, there's proposed legislation being pushed to change a federal law from 1866 so that a living person, specifically Donald Trump, can legally appear on paper currency. On top of that, Trump's signature is set to appear on U.S. currency, which is a total first for a sitting president. Now, since artists keep dropping out from every project attached to Donald Trump, I've decided, you know what, I could help out. If you got no one else, I have some more accurate renderings of what this bill should and could look like if it happens, including things that represent his actual financial genius in the business world, because the only time he manages to make money is when he's conning people. All of his actual ventures fail. Here's the Taj Mahal note. Liquidation sale. This was the eighth wonder of the world that opened in 1990 and managed to file for Chapter 11 bankruptcy just a year later. It is the ultimate symbol of his business acumen. He is quite literally the only guy who figured out how to make a casino lose money. Terrific guy, reserve note. Known Jeff 15 years. Oh, this leans heavily into his long documented history of flying on private jets and partying with Jeffrey Epstein through the 90s and 2000s before claiming he barely knew the guy. It's the one piece of real estate he can't slap his name on. Eyes wide damaged. Straight from the 2017 White House balcony incident, the entire world, every scientist, and even his own aides told him, do not look directly at the sun. But he stepped outside and raw-dogged the eclipse. It's the perfect metaphor for his relationship with expert advice. This one honors his daily nap sessions that we see on television. Nearly every meeting. It's the low-energy reality behind the tough guy branding. Dozy Don, Rip Van Stinkle. This one celebrates his incredibly public and deeply uncomfortable lifelong obsession with his own daughter's looks, not Tiffany, Ivanka. It's the only note on this list he would genuinely approve of and probably try to keep a stack of in his pocket at all times, at least one. One he could use in case of emergency if his imagination isn't working, if you know what I mean. This one commemorates his visit to Puerto Rico after Hurricane Maria. Instead of distributing actual aid, he stood in a chapel and casually chucked paper towels at disaster victims like he was manning the t-shirt cannon at a Lakers game. It perfectly captures his idea of crisis management.
Subscribe.
Got any other ideas for honest Trump money? Let me know in the comments.
TrumpRx.gov is what it is, and it's the hottest site, I think, anywhere on the planet, from what I understand, Bobby, right? It's really great. People are calling up and they're buying drugs for a fraction.
According to global internet traffic metrics, the actual hottest, most visited websites on the planet are Google, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Pornhub, Wikipedia, and WhatsApp. A federal pharmacy landing page isn't cracking the top 10,000, let alone beating out cat videos, social media, and professional amateur stepmom scenarios. Ted Cruz, you're a fan. But the absolute best part about this hottest site is how incredibly useless it is for the average person. He talks about it like it's a revolutionary health healthcare savior, but here's the fine print. This is mostly a cash price coupon style system, not some magic replacement for insurance. If you have standard health insurance, you can't use it on the site. If you actually read what health policy experts are saying, for the vast majority of Americans who have regular health insurance, your standard copay is already cheaper than the deeply discounted cash prices he's bragging about. The site carries a limited catalog of dozens of drugs. Depending on how you count it, it doesn't carry controlled substances, it doesn't carry restricted medications, and it completely leaves out the middle class. This is what happens when you put a tanning bed addict with a brainworm in charge of health and human services. Look at what we're dealing with here. This isn't AI. This is RFK Jr. wrangling a couple of snakes in Dr. Oz's beachfront patio in Palm Beach.
Hey, how are you guys doing? I just want to try and hang you up for a little bit. I need a little taste. Okay, I got him. Oh, big and black. Feisty ones. I have another snake in my pants.
Only the best and brightest for MAGA. Those snakes were trying to get it on, and they just got cock-blocked by RFK Jr. in a pair of dress socks. This guy pulled over to cut off a raccoon dick on the highway, so who knows what he's hoping to do with these two. I make this show on my own. If you can afford it, drop me a PayPal tip or a super thanks, become a member, and check out my merch. As wild as they look, these black racers are harmless, okay? They're not exactly harmless because they were biting him. He did get bit there, but they're not venomous. Though I do feel like those snakes have a bigger chance of getting something from RFK Jr. than he does of getting something from those snakes. I mean, they have swat blood. He's just standing there bleeding on this guy's balcony. If you're worried about snakes or you have a problem, you can get professionals to come take them away, not just RFK Jr. when he's over at your mega mansion to go and pick them up. It's all so ridiculous.
Filthy dirty. It was Biden. And we have one in particular, a very long lake, we call it, the reflecting lake, between the Lincoln Monument. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. You take a look at, between Lincoln and Washington, you have the longest, like 2,400 feet long. That's longer than the tallest building in the world if you set it on its side.
Okay, let's look at the actual numbers here because the chemicals in Cheeto's spray tan have destroyed the last brain cells bouncing around in that rotting head. He keeps calling it the reflecting lake and the Lincoln Monument. It's a pool. And it's a memorial. He's treating a national landmark like it's a water hazard at one of his golf courses. And he claims it was filthy dirty under Biden, and then they spent hundreds of millions fixing it. Dude, it's a concrete ditch outside in Washington, D.C. It's a magnet for leaves and bird poop. There is some maintenance involved. But he's so obsessed with it that his administration handed out a $7 million no-bid contract just to steam clean the concrete and paint the entire bottom a bright neon chemical blue. He's giving it the Mar-a-Lago makeover. He thinks he can just drop in a round of Botox and lip filler and people will think it's beautiful. They don't. But the absolute best part is his skyscraper math. He flatly stated that the pool is 2,400 feet long and that it's longer than the tallest building in the world if you lay it on its side. First off, the pool is 2,011 feet long. He didn't even get that part right. The tallest building in the world, the Burj Khalifa, is over 2,700 feet tall. I was actually in Dubai when that was being built on 3 different comedy tours, and that thing is enormous. If you actually laid the world's tallest skyscraper down inside his neon blue puddle, Dubai's building wins by 700 feet. It would rip right through the concrete and crush Abraham Lincoln in his chair. He's a guy who spent his life constructing skyscrapers and he's getting confused by basic blueprints. I've said it many times, he calls himself a builder, but he hasn't laid a brick or a willing woman in his life. He thinks his unnaturally looking pool is going to be some majestic, endless lake that mirrors his peak physical form. Meanwhile, the rest of the world looks at him peering into his mess and sees a completely different animal looking back. Since we're talking hot websites, Kash Patel's is hot, but in the criminal way, like a car stereo that fell off the back of a truck. Before Kash Patel got the FBI job to drink on, he launched a political merchandise website called basedapparel.com aimed at right-wingers. And according to a massive new security report, if you visit the FBI director's t-shirt shop right now, and I advise you don't do this, his website will actively try to hack your computer. The man in charge of the nation's premier law enforcement agency, whose literal job description is protecting citizens from cybercrime and foreign hackers. You can't make it up. This wasn't even discovered by a major intelligence agency. A security researcher on X named Debbie blew the whistle when she caught the site hosting a click-fix malware attack. You go on there looking for a pro-Trump or a 2A hoodie, and this fake window pops up pretending to be Cloudflare saying, "Hey, verify you're a human." Then it gives you step-by-step instructions telling you to open your Mac's command terminal and paste in a line of code. If you do this, the info stealer Trojan malware immediately sweeps up your passwords, grabs your cryptocurrency wallet data, zips it into a file, and sends it to a hacker-controlled server. And what I find absolutely hilarious about this latest Kash Patel fail is that you and I are not going to fall victim to this. We see a line of code in a terminal prompt and immediately close the tab. The only people actually stepping on this digital rake are the very people who are completely devoted to them in the conservative movement. No, I really want to buy the thing, but it's telling me to enter a thing, or I can't get to the next screen. I got to do it. You cannot make this up. The guy running the FBI can't even secure his own Shopify account. He wants to investigate the deep state, but he can't stop an amateur hacker from using his own digital gift shop to rob crypto bro superfans of their Bitcoin.
Listen, in these sanctuary cities where the local radical left Democrats aren't allowing us to do our job and enforce federal laws, then we shouldn't be processing international flights into their cities either, because they don't want us to enforce immigration. So we're not going to halt the flights. What we're saying is we just won't be able to process them because we don't have officers there. We're having to pull out our Customs and Border Patrol officers that process these flights and put them in these facilities.
This is framing national infrastructure not as something to run, but something to withhold. It's the administrative equivalent of a kid threatening to pop the basketball just because he doesn't like the shape of the playground. You can't just flip a switch and turn LAX or JFK into a domestic-only airstrip. If a Boeing 777 takes off from London or Tokyo bound for LA and Markwayne has pulled all the CBP officers out of the terminal, that plane doesn't just vanish. It's not an episode of Lost. It means thousands of international flights will have to be scrambled midair to smaller non-sanctuary airports that aren't remotely equipped to handle them. Imagine double-decker Airbuses full of jet-lagged tourists being forced to land in a tiny regional airport in Idaho. The customs line would stretch to the next time zone. But guess what? Fox News is genuinely spinning this as a boon for red states, scooping up those tourism dollars. As if a family heading to San Francisco is going to be thrilled that their West Coast tour of the Golden Gate Bridge has been swapped for an emergency landing in Casper, Wyoming. This plan doesn't even stop immigration. It just turns the entire federal aviation grid into a glitchy game of Pong. And what about the Americans trying to return home? What about the business travelers who parked their car in New Jersey and now they're being dumped in a different state? Did this guy take too many headshots during his vanity MMA career because this rich kid who inherited his daddy's plumbing empire is drawing up blueprints that belong straight in Kristi Noem's gravel pit? He thinks he's putting these cities in a submission hold, but he's the one tapping out on basic logic. North America is weeks away from hosting the World Cup. People all over the world have spent thousands of dollars planning to attend games across Canada, the US, and Mexico. But with Mullin openly threatening major host hubs like Seattle and Los Angeles, anyone holding a ticket is going to look at the American border and say, yeah, no. They're going to completely pivot and focus their money on the games they know they'll be able to get to. And it isn't just about people. Consider the bonkers amount of freight and cargo that arrive at these airports all day long. High-end tech products, critical medical supplies, and components arrive on planes every single day. And it's not just electronics. Think about the food. A massive portion of high-end perishable food relies completely on air freight. Fresh seafood, off-season produce, and temperature-sensitive agricultural goods are flown in every single hour so they don't rot on a cargo ship. Pulling customs officers doesn't just stop tourists from buying Mickey Mouse ears, it completely cuts the cord on the digital economy and causes fresh food to die. This is the guy in high school without pubes that we laughed at. Loser. This is quite a pathetic flex. Your attempt at a trash comment is admitting that not only did you inspect your classmates' crotches, you're still thinking about them decades later. But then again, in the Republican universe, being way too interested in teens is a feature, not a bug. MAGA tears. Hey mommy, look, I'm on the internet. Wah, wah, wah. I'm guessing you accidentally left this on my channel while trying to text your mother a status update. MAGA tears. What happens when you put a tanning bed addict with a brain womb, a tanning bed addict with a brain womb in charge. A tanning bed addict with a brain worm. This one goes with his incredibly public, deeply uncomfortable, lifelong obsession with his own daughter's looks. It's the only note on this list he would genuinely approve of and probably try to keep a stack of in his pocket of all times. Case of emergency.
I'm just trying to see where the batteries go in so we can take these to our bedroom.
Hard to say if Don Jr. will be excited to roll up that bill or he'll feel bad about having his father directly up his nose.
Guys, get my dad.
The entire world, every scientist and his own aides told him not to look directly at the sun, but he stepped outside and raw-dogged the eclipse. He treated it like Stormy.
I can confirm the Tommy Campbell Show is the best political comedy show on YouTube. And I hope you subscribe.